Good evening, everybody, and happy Friday. It is February 25th, 2022, and we had a very positive day today in the stock market. The Dow Jones Industrial Average, the NASDAQ, and S&P 500 all following through from that big rally day yesterday. So it's encouraging to see price action continue to rally, giving investors a little bit of confidence that this may be the bottom, or at least an intermediate term bottom. But we have a lot to talk about tonight. I briefly wanted to cover, sort of gauge where everybody's sentiment is for returning to work. So I've been talking to a lot of my friends today, and they've been getting emails from their employers that really want them to start coming back to the office. But the responses I've been getting is actually pretty interesting. A lot of my friends are like, if my employer mandates me to go back to the office, I'm just going to quit and find another job. So are these companies sort of stuck between a rock and a hard place? Do the people actually have the power to where if the companies mandate return to the office, do you think it'll work? Who knows? We'll talk about that and more tonight, but it is Friday. So very, very happy Friday to everybody. It's been a crazy week, so I hope everybody can find some time to relax with your family and friends and loved ones, and hopefully that will bring you a little bit of peace. So Otto is here, says, hey Tom. What's up, Otto? Good to see you. Chris Beeman is here, says, good evening, Tom. Chris is joining us from Arizona. Good to see you, Chris. Miguel says, good evening, Tom. Good to see you. A says, what's up, Tom? Brandy is here. The one and only Michelle McGraw. Hey, Michelle. Good to see you. Lori E says, happy Friday, everybody. Will says, was hoping I would run into you then. I was walking by the World Trade Center 2 nights ago. Hey, that'd be cool. Good to see you. Happy Friday. Ken Kramer's here, says, hey, Tom. Chris Beeman, good to see you. Lori E. And Gregory and Uma Thailand is here. And Alexis says, hey, Tom. Good to see everybody. So it's another frigid night in New York City. And we are downtown on Cooper Street near St. Mark's Place again. But we are going to be headed up towards the Chrysler Building. But right now we are in the Village. Tonight should be a pretty beautiful night. Vinny Castellano says, please pray for Ukraine. This is innocent blood spilled in the streets. More needs to be done for Ukraine. I agree. So I actually had a little bit of time today to look into what is going on in Ukraine. And I actually got to talk to, I wouldn't say industry experts, but probably some people that know a lot more about the situation than I do. So we'll talk about that as well tonight. But yes, praying for peace for sure. Sheila Neal says, hey, Tom and everybody. Charlie Richardson says, hi, good to see you. Good to see you. Hope you're well, Charlie. Lori E. Santos is here, says, photos from around New York. Says, watching on mute, going to jog on the treadmill. Hey, awesome, man. Fantastic. Yeah, the situation that's unfolding in Ukraine is extremely, extremely unfortunate. The last I heard is that the Ukrainian government is actually actively passing out military equipment and weapons to civilians to fight for their country. So it's really, really dire times. See something like this happen, especially in 2022. But then again, history seems to be repeating itself again and again. So definitely praying for those in Ukraine. Hey, Roland YT says, how you doing, fella? Good to see you. I'm doing very good. We are on East 6th Street. Very cold night in New York City. Freezing. Carla says, hola. Hey, Carla. Good to see you. Hope you're well. Frigid night in New York City. It was supposed to snow a little bit yesterday, but thankfully it didn't. We got spared of the snow. Miguel says, poor people, so sad. I agree. Fred X says, good evening. Dallas says, hey, Tom. Yeah, so does anybody in the chat really know and understand what is going on in Ukraine? Because I was actually speaking to one of my friends who is Ukrainian, and his mother only watches Russian TV. And I believe, and you know, this is all allegedly, the Russian media, I believe, is propagandizing this invasion and saying that the reason why they're doing it is because there is select, and this, look, I don't know if it's true or not. I definitely don't think it is true. I think it's just a way of Putin to get a power grab here. But essentially, Vladimir Putin alleges that there are Nazi extremist groups in Ukraine and that he is targeting military operations to take those Nazi extremist groups out. But there's no evidence that there's any sort of extremist groups there. So what I think is it's all Russian propaganda media and just a way for Putin to justify the invasion, because I've never heard of this. And the president of Ukraine is Jewish. So if Vladimir Putin claims that the reason why he is invading is to topple the Ukrainian government because there's Nazis infiltrated the government, I just really don't see how that adds up, being that the president of Ukraine is Jewish. So I think it's all Russian propaganda, but what do you guys think? Obama, good to see you. John says, I pray for peace for Ukraine. Very sad news. It's horrible what's going on over there, and the civilians now are actually taking it upon themselves. I believe the Ukrainian government is distributing weapons to the people to help defend their territories. So all the support with them, for sure. Silhouette, good to see you. Chris Beeman says, yes, I did hear about that, Tom, and calling them drug dealers and thugs. Yeah, I was reading that in the New York Times today. Carla, good to see you. Welcome, everybody. Hey, Dallas says, I've heard Russia's plan was set out yesterday when it started. Mike Simmons says, Tom Nash had a good take since he is Russian. Oh, Tom Nash had a good take. John Ellis says, it appears Putin has lost his mind. Yeah, so I also read an article on that supposedly or allegedly top officials in Russia are claiming that Vladimir Putin is quite literally going crazy. Well, I mean, to launch an attack or launch a war, an invasion of another sovereign nation, you know, you got to be crazy, you got to be nuts. But it's really unfortunate that we're seeing these things happen in Europe in 2022. It's really, really horrible. Vinny Castellanos says, Maria and I agree, Tom. The civilians are told to defend themselves with Molotov cocktails. Yeah, so Vinny, I saw that as well. I think Reuters reported that the Ukrainian media is actually running on their television instruction tutorials of how to make Molotov cocktails. So it's totally, I can't even believe it, how unbelievable it is. Hey, Thiago's here. Good to see you. Mark Davis from Toronto, Canada is here. Good to see you, Mark. I hope you had a great Friday. Lori E says, I read that too, Tom. Efron Silva says, good evening for all. Good evening. NG says, sorry to hear all that's going on over there. Alan Wilson says, good evening, Tom and everybody. Good to see you. Roy S, thank you for joining, my friend. Roy S says, hi, Tom and all mods and everybody, wishing well said developments in Ukraine. Mona D, good to see you. Hope you're well. Sorry, the chat's going crazy. It's hard to read. Let's see. Thiago, good to see you. I saw somebody mention the SWIFT system. Says, Biden chicken to touch the SWIFT payment system so the war is over. So the only thing I'd say about that, Obama, is, you know, if you remove Russia from SWIFT, that would be considered an act of war. And with Putin being as crazy as he is, you know, we have to understand that Russia has nuclear missiles, right? So we don't want something to happen where Putin starts to use those, because that would definitely not be ideal. So that's my only concern, is that, you know, I think we need to massage this over as gently as possible, even though everybody wants to, you know, it's a really sticky situation. That's really all I can say. Yeah, I don't know. Hey, Hemp Lord, good to see you, my friend. Hope you're well. Mark Davis is all is good on this Friday night here, Tom. Good to see you. Roy S. says it is interesting now to check Russian TV channel showing that their troops are welcomed in the border by local community. Yeah, so Roy S., I believe the two territories that Russia originally invaded, supposedly they were pro-Russian territories in Ukraine. Okay, and when I'm talking about this tonight, I want to preface this by saying I'm not an expert on this situation at all. A little bit I've been reading and watching, this is sort of what I'm seeing. So if I say something that may not be correct, I'm not an expert in this, and I'm just trying to piecemeal all the information together just like everybody else about this situation. Is that the two territories in Ukraine that Russia has invaded are supposedly pro-Russian territories. Supposedly. Now, I don't know if that's true or not, but that's what I've been reading. Obama, good to see you. Emilio J says Times Square is going crazy right now. Good to see you, Emilio. Sarah G says make love, not war. Agreed. Good to see you. Hey, Buy the Book is here. Good to see you, Buy the Book. Lori E says the part that makes it trickier is they aren't a member of NATO. That is true, they are not. Bernard Friedman is here, says let's just make it let's just make peace. Agreed. Hemp Lord, good to see you. Beijing Charlie, good to see you, Beijing Charlie. Alex, good to see you. John, I'm doing good. Devon Avery, good to see you, my friend. Man, it is frigid cold here. So we're on East 6th Street. We'll take a lap around St. Mark's Place in the Village, the East Village of New York City, and then we're gonna head uptown, but we're gonna take a path that we don't usually take on the stream. So maybe we'll have a little bit of a different scenery. Yeah, John L says, Tom, the Empire State Building is lit up for Ukraine tonight. So we're gonna be able to see that on the stream. That'll be nice. And I believe, was it Houston or Dallas that was all lit up? The entire city was lit up in the Ukrainian colors. I think that was Houston. Hey, Gummy Bear says 30-year-old killed by a shark in Australia. Horrible. Hey, Jay says, good evening, my friend. Good to see you, Jay. Hope you're well. W. Cleveland says, how is the war going to affect the market now in the future? So that's a good question, and I wrote a piece on that. I wrote an article about how it may play out. And I was sort of comparing the market reaction to that of Operation Desert Storm in 1991. And there's an old saying on Wall Street, you save the cannons and you sell the horns. If that makes sense. I can't believe nobody's moving out of the way for this guy. Hey, Surgeon is here. Says, hey, what would be your top 3 things to do in New York City if you only have 4 days? So I would actually, if one of the days I'd probably hang around down here, which is the Village, St. Mark's Place near New York University. I think you're gonna have a good time down here. Also, I would spend a lot of time on Manhattan's Upper West Side, which would be anything between 66th Street and 96th. Lori East is my son-in-law and father of my grand is an Army Ranger. I do not want to see American boots on the ground, but I wish we could help establish a no-fly zone over Ukraine to give them some cover, says Lori E. I appreciate the service, Lori E. Very much appreciated. Maria Castellano says, good evening, Tom. I've seen on the news earlier this morning crematory or for the Gummy Bear, I did catch the train. Hey, John says, Tom, thank you for the tour. Thank you for being here, John. Roy S says, Tom agreed St. Mark's is a must visit. Rick Wolf says, Tom, please repeat that saying, signal skipped. So there's cannons and you sell the horns. So meaning you buy when the war drums are going off and everybody's panicking, and you sell when everybody's partying and the war is over. Now, I don't want that to come across that I'm trying to capitalize on some sort of war, because it's horrible and I wish this was never happening in the first place. But if you look back throughout history, you know, what happened during Operation Desert Storm? The United States was going into panic mode. They ordered over 40,000 body bags. We thought we were going to be experiencing massive casualties for US soldiers. Thankfully, that never happened, but on the day of the operation, the S&P 500 rallied 4%, which qualified for a follow-through day, and then it set and started the strongest bull market in US history, or one of them. And what happened 2 days ago on the day of the invasion? About 4% across the board. But then what happened in the morning? We rallied hard, and then we even rallied more into the day today. So I'm not saying the market has bottomed, but I think it's a very good possibility that it may have. But if you want to read more about it, I wrote a piece about it in the Behind the Street newsletter. If you want to read that, it's the first link in this description. OF says the US is proving to be nothing. The UN is proving to be nothing. Sarah G says, coined in 1810, yeah, by London financier the Rothschild. The phrase, buy on the sound of cannons, sell on the sound of the trumpets. Ken Kramer says, the Fed will use this war as an excuse to print even more money and expand the bubble. I think you're probably right about that, Ken Kramer. Unfortunately, it seems like the debt-based monetary system has to keep going in perpetuity in order for the music to keep going. Sarah G, good to see you. Happy Friday, everybody. Hope you all have some great weekend plans. We're here at St. Mark's. It looks like everybody is out having a good time tonight. Hey, Ruby Falcone says, good evening, Tom, mods and all. Good to see you, Ruby. I hope you are well. Chris Beeman says, Tom, let's have a moment of silence for Ukraine. Hey, Marty Lewis is here, says, hello, Tom and everybody. It is very windy at my bus stop. It's a very windy and freezing cold night here. A very, very cold night. 076 is what happens when the music stops. Money will probably flow into anti-debt units. So an anti-debt unit would probably be precious metals, some select cryptocurrencies, things like that. Hey, numero uno says Germany went totally green, and green energy couldn't supply their energy needs, so they import about 50% of the natural gas from Russia. Yes, so numero uno, I think you're 100% right about that. And we actually covered that in a previous stream when we were talking about I love green energy, but you need to do it in a way where it's sustainable. energy independent, you know, that forces us to get it. Really don't have the same viewpoints as us, you know, such as Russia and China, that burn very, very dirty fuel in order to produce energy. But good to see you, Ruby Falcone. Gummy Bear says stocks tumbled and prices for oil and wheat went up. I think the opposite happened. I think the stocks went up and oil sold off the past 2 days. So now we are coming up on 2nd Avenue. A lot of people are out tonight, but it is freezing.
Is that you? No?
Freezing.
What's your tag?
So we do a financial show.
Oh, interesting.
It's called Walks in Wall Street.
Cool.
Yeah, so if you look, we do a live show on YouTube.
All right. I was just gonna say IP2 always wins.
What is that?
IP2 always wins. It's some good troll like website like.
Is it a ticker?
They do griefing, like street griefing, and they always like snipe, like do what I do and like try to like ruin a stream.
Oh, I thought you were saying it's a stock.
So no, it's not. My man over, my boy over there, he's big, a stock trader. If you
Oh, very cool. Cool.
check him out,
Nice.
he's cool. He's like Bitcoin millionaire status. Like,
Cool.
hey,
Awesome, man. Well, have a good one.
Yeah,
And
likewise.
enjoy your Friday.
dude,
See ya. Emilio J says this drunk. Cosmo Scary says IP2 is a toxic streaming community spun off of Ice Poseidon. What is that? Sally says stay warm. Tell him I will. Thank you, Sally. Appreciate it. Hey, Robert Bankers says happy Friday, everybody. General says Stomp. Yeah, so I think Stomp is, I think this is part of the Blue Man Group, isn't it? I believe it was. Saran says, would you advise spending most of my time for first time in New York City? Probably the Upper West Side. I'd go to the Upper West Side of St. Mark's Place. Jay is here, says hello, good to see you. Atomic Skittle says, hey Tom, which part of Manhattan are we in tonight? So this is the east side, or the East Village. So 2nd Avenue and St. Mark's Place. XXX Bob says good evening. Cosmo Scary says, yeah, I don't know anything. I don't know. I mean, everybody in the chat, I don't know what that is. But yeah, it was nice meeting him. He seems like a good guy. Chris's Stomp is different than the Blue Man Group. Gotcha. Hey, JK is back. Good to see you, JK. Well. Hey, Nadij says, hi, Tom. Hi, everybody. Good to see you, Nadij. Hope you're well. Happy Friday. So the stock market ended off on an extremely positive note. Obviously, yesterday we had that massive swing across the board in all the major indices. When we were streaming on Wednesday night, that is officially when Russia, S&P 500, the NASDAQ 100, and the Dow futures were deep red, almost down 3% across the board, which was really egregious. But something interesting happened right in the morning. Massive buying. And we had a rally of about 6% in the NASDAQ 100, which followed through today. So that is an extremely fantastic results. So the bottom may very well be in, but I think it's important that we watch that 50-day, 100-day moving average And I'll write about that more in the Behind the Street newsletter that I will be sending out on Monday. But we may also have a special report coming out Saturday night. Hey, Atomic Skittles says, are you going to Washington Square Park tonight? So we were there yesterday. Maybe we'll take a walk around there tonight. But good to see you. Hope you're having a good Friday. Somebody says Bitcoin is trying to monetize wasting energy. So I believe El Salvador is trying to issue volcano bonds, which I think is quite interesting. Has anybody heard that? El Salvador is trying to issue volcano bonds. Bitcoin volcano bonds. So now we're on First Avenue. And I think we may continue walking down one more block and then we'll head back the other way. I want to show you guys a pretty good restaurant I frequent. Hey, RJ says, hola from Colorado, Tom. Hope you're well. Good to see you. Sam Pod says, are they real, Tom? Well, I think they're coming. And there was a very famous financial engineer that's actually helping El Salvador create these Bitcoin volcano bonds. In the Discord, I'll be sure to drop the podcast to that. Hey, Just the Guy says, looks like New York City is getting its stride back. Yeah, things are coming back. I'm very, very optimistic about it. Seems like a lot more people are out, which is fantastic. RJ is here. Good to see you. Obama says, Great Jones Street. Good to see you. Hey, Mount Up 716 is here. Good to see you, Mount Up 716. Joining us from the one and only Buffalo, New York. Hope you're well. Hey, Sebastian says, what street is this? So we were just at St. Mark's Place. Numero uno says the U.S. has to ramp up its own domestic oil production. I agree. Well, we were energy independent. So numero uno, I want you to read a really, really good article that I came across in the Wall Street Journal. So if you type in the chat, !power, P-O-W-E-R, the Nightbot is going to drop an article from the Wall Street Journal that outlines why the United States infrastructure is not quite ready for 100% renewables. So the power grid in the United States is so egregiously outdated because the vast majority of the infrastructure in the US was built right after the end of World War II. Some of it was built a little bit before, but the main problem is that the majority of our power infrastructure lives above ground, which makes it very susceptible to outages during big storms and things like that. But in addition to that, right now, if you want to talk about hydropower, if you want to talk about wind and solar, we are not at the level as of now to be able to replace all of the energy produced with renewables from the energy produced with burning fossil fuels and things like that. So I think it needs to be a gradual roll-off, not a hard cutoff like many of these politicians want. But good to see you, numero uno. Mount Up 716, good to see you. Sally says, Tom, I didn't know when you ended last night, I fell asleep. Good to see you, Sally. Daryl says, good evening from Chicago, Illinois. Hope you're well, Daryl. Hey, Toshi says, hey, Tom, good to see you again. When did you get your third booster shot? I'm not sure when I got that. Dana Thompson, I love those type of apartments, the sub-level apartments. Yeah, I like the architecture down here as well. Very beautiful. Tracy says, hello from Mississippi. Good to see you, Tracy. Solo401 says, Tom, Anonymous declared a cyber war against the Russian government. Yeah, so we were talking about that, Solo. How crazy is that? And I think today, Anonymous actually leaked some of the information from some of the top Russian oligarchs as well as military commanders. They leaked them online. So it's just, if I was talking to my friend today, and I was saying, if you take a step back and really think about what's going on right now, and if you could tell yourself what was going on in the past right now, like if your past self could meet your future self, I don't think the person from the past would ever believe anything that you're saying. Your past self would probably think you're some sort of conspiracy theorist nut job, but the way things have turned out in this world over the past 2 years is so unbelievable that, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised about anything. If anything happens, I wouldn't be surprised. Yeah, John's like, thank God it's Friday. Good to see you, John. Yeah, Laura East, Tom, I agree completely. Absolutely unbelievable. Yeah, just the things that have been happening are just crazy. And just as we're emerging out of a global pandemic, now we have to worry about this Russia-Ukraine war that's breaking out, which is really, really horrible. OF's history is created every day. Solo 401's like, aliens will land next. That's the last thing we need. Hey, Joe Hernandez says, hey Tom, how was your week? Joe Hernandez is joining us from Orlando, Florida. My week was really good. I had a very good week, very productive, but very long week. So I'm looking forward to taking the weekend off. Sam Pod says, Tom, I thought the same exact thing last week. So true. It's so bizarre. So bizarre. Yeah, Triple G says, Tom, these will be looked upon as the good old days. Joe Hernandez says, you earned your time off, Tom. Yeah, Joe, I think tomorrow I'm probably going to sleep in a little bit tomorrow. Sit down, maybe go to get a cup of coffee, read the paper, work on the newsletter. But I hope you had a good week, Joe. What's the temperature like over there in Orlando? Here, it is pretty freezing. But everybody, we are on the corner of East 7th Street and Avenue A. Wait, I think this is Avenue A, is it? Yeah, Avenue A in New York City. Hey, Ruby Falcone says, get some rest and enjoy some time with your family. Thank you, Ruby. Appreciate it. Gummy Bear says, Tom, did you go to the food place you were talking about yesterday? I did not get a chance to today. Not today. Maybe I'll do that this weekend. Solo 401 says, New York City pizza for me at the end of the March. Can't wait. Awesome, Solo. Can't wait for you to get here. And look, hopefully it'll be a lot better weather than it is right now in March. At least that's all we can hope for, I guess. Solo, are you working this weekend or you have off? I forget. Sally says, yeah, Tom, freezing cold, and it was raining all day yesterday. Well, it was raining today on Long Island, but when I took the train into the city, it actually stopped raining. It was only like misty rain out on Long Island, but it was more of like a hail, freezing rain. Hey, Robert, good to see you.
Okay, forget that.
Ooh, Solo 401 is off. I have 3 trips there this year. Awesome, Solo. Hey, KR says, Tom, how much does a subway ride cost? I think it's $275. Well, speaking of subway rides, and I think I mentioned this before on the stream, you know, when I landed from Miami, I touched down in JFK. I couldn't believe how much a ticket for the air train costs. I believe one ticket for the air train now costs, I think I paid about $8. And I never remember it being that expensive. Does anybody know what the exact price of the air train is. It's definitely getting more expensive, which is, it seems like everything is getting more expensive. But speaking about things getting more expensive, starting March 1st, the Metro North as well as the Long Island Railroad will be initiating peak fares once again. So due to the pandemic, due to COVID, the MTA, Long Island Railroad, tried to help everybody out a little bit by giving them off-peak fares. But now peak fares will be in effect starting March 1st. Hey, Mike S., there's a lot of crashes on the Long Island Expressway last night. Oh my God, I hope nobody got hurt. Hey, Brad's Brains, it's good to see you, Tom. It's freezing in Kansas City. So, you know, what's up, Brad? Hope you're well. Good to see you. Gary says, Tom, up is down, down is up. Agreed, especially in this day and age. Robert Bankers, good to see you. 076 says, all we need is a big Germany taking on a little Putin for run. Spontaneous is so cold out in New York City, it's freezing. So I think we'll cross the street here and then we'll head back uptown. I want to show you guys the Empire State Building tonight because it's supposedly all lit up in the Ukrainian colors to support Ukraine. So I think the Empire State Building is going to look beautiful tonight. KR says, can you take a helicopter from JFK to 432 Park Avenue? I don't think you can, but you can take a helicopter from the west side of Manhattan to JFK, and I believe LaGuardia as well. And the company is called Blade, and I think it was actually recently acquired by Uber. But could somebody fact check me on that? I'm not sure if they were acquired by Uber or not. But the company is called Blade, B-L-A-D-E. And I think it's like 200, 300 bucks. You could take a helicopter right from Manhattan's west side to JFK. DM says the air train is $8. Crazy. Crazy expensive. But the one thing I like about the air train, for anybody visiting New York, is that it is totally autonomous. So there's no conductor. You know, it just runs on its own automatically. So it's definitely a more efficient way of transportation. For sure. Hey, NNB 045, my friend from Montreal. Good. KR, good to see you. Lewis, Lena Sandoval. Hey, Lena Sandoval. Hey, Gabe says, hey, Tom, the air train is $7.50. Wow. Yeah, I never remember it being that expensive, but indeed it is nonetheless. So everybody, just another quick update. I just want to remind everybody. So we are now officially on the Discord. So if you guys look in the links in the description of this video, you're more than welcome to join the Walks in Wall Street Discord, where we will be using it for networking opportunities and other interesting things. So feel free to join us there. Also, we are now on LinkedIn. So feel free to connect with Behind the Street on LinkedIn, where we will be posting all of our updates and newsletters and things like that. So feel free to join us and hang out. Lori E says, what is Discord? So Discord is it's sort of like a messaging application where people can make different chat rooms to talk about a myriad of different things. So right now we have a markets talk chat room where we talk about the financial markets. We have a networking chat room where we try to help each other get jobs in tech or investment banking, finance, or really anything. So the link is in the description if you guys want to check it out. Yeah, Chris Beeman's like another way to communicate. Yeah, Chris, it seems like we have a million different platforms. Thousands of them.
I don't care where we go. I just want nothing but grammar class.
Hey, Bianca M is here. Roy S says, I am very happy to have finally joined the Discord. Awesome, Roy. I'll definitely probably see you in there. Gummy Bear, I have not. Hey, Peter Webley says vacant stores everywhere. So down here, it's a lot of like restaurants and bars and things like that. I kind of like the vibe down here though. A lot of graffiti art. Very cool. This is a pretty cool outdoor dining structure. Hey, Days Works is Tom. What it do? Come back to Miami, 75-degree weather. We'll be back there soon enough, Days Work. We'll definitely be back there soon enough. It's good to see you, my friend. Vinny Castellano says, Biden leaves Washington to go to Delaware for the weekend. Shaking my head. So just to touch on the Ukraine situation real quick again, and I don't really mean to get too political, but I read about an amazing story. I believe there were these two heavyweight boxers, these two Ukrainian heavyweight boxers that are actually going back to Ukraine to fight on the front lines. Has anybody else heard that? I mean, I just have so much respect for that and admiration. That's unreal. Hey, Daddy Boggs says, good evening, Tom, and good evening, everybody. Barry Burse says, the minute Tom lands back in Miami, the weather in New York is going to warm up. You know what? Knowing my luck, that's probably true. But then again, when I landed in New York, when I did land in New York, it was 65 degrees. It wasn't bad. Hey, Shara says, where is this? This is St. Mark's Place, 1st Avenue in the East Village of New York City. Hope everybody's having a happy Friday. It's definitely been a crazy week, not only in financial markets, but across the globe. So hope everybody gets a chance to sort of relax. Hey, 29 says, I was in New York City last weekend. I missed it so much. 29, you got to come back. Thank you for watching the stream. I appreciate it. And please come back to New York soon. Hey, Franklin is here. Hey, Franklin. Good to see you. KR says, should I go to New York or Cali for vacation from London in the summer? I think I'm going to be pretty biased when I say New York. I think there's no place like New York during the spring and the summer. It's fantastic here in the spring and in the summer. Hey, St. Jim is here. Hey, St. Jim. I see Mohammed in the chat. What's up, Mohammed? Hope you're having a good day.
You had 2 lambs left.
Hey, Christian Felix, good to see you, my friend. Hey, Craft Escapes, says Tom, no snow tonight. Hopefully not. I did look at the weather though, and we may have a little bit of a chance of snow. Hey, Kelly Wilson says, love the trash and graffiti. Good to see you, Kelly. So I wanted to take a quick poll in the chat, because I've been talking to a lot of my friends and they're getting a lot of emails and requests from their jobs, giving them a little bit of a forewarning that they're going to start bringing them back to the office again. And the vast majority of my friends that I talk to, they're definitely not happy with that. And a lot of them are saying flat out, they're like, listen, Tom, if my office or my job mandates me to go back to the office, I'm just going to find another job. So what do you guys think? Are you sort of hearing the same thing? Or what are your employers telling you? Is it going to be more of a hybrid situation where you only come a week, or sort of what are you guys seeing? Because here's what I think may happen if companies are not careful. If companies make a solid mandate to return to the office, they may see a significant uptick in employee churn. And that may impact their business significantly. So I think companies need to tread water carefully here. Because from the people that I've been talking to, it seems like if they mandate back to the office, they are out. Benny B says, Tom, the boomers want us to go back in. Mike C says, those people who moved back to Montana aren't coming back. Good to see you, Mike C. Sarah G says, I don't like driving every day. Gummy Bear says, people are out and about in public anyway. I don't see why having people back in the office will change anything. Interesting. OF says, big companies giving folks just enough not to quit. Hey, Lewis says, I'm going back to the office. Oil Paint says, Pennsylvania in the house. Good to see you. NN's B045 says, Tom, my company is going for a hybrid with the smartest approach. That's where my employer is headed. Hey, Rhonda Harris is first grade teacher here, so no option to work from home. Hey, Rhonda, that's awesome. That's a great job. It's fantastic. So cool. Roya says, Tom, how fast and how big the stock market will respond to the latest Ukraine crisis? Well, Roy, I think it already responded. I think it already responded, and it may have been the sell the energy play. You know, a lot of people are saying pile into energy, pile into oil, pile into crude. But as I've talked about in the last two streams now, you know, we've had our long positions in energy since crude was at $40, right? That's because essentially here's what I think, right? In investing, you want to look for something that's called asymmetric. You want to put in the most asymmetric risk on to be possible, right? So you have positive asymmetric risk. I think these guys almost crashed into each other. Jeez. You have positive asymmetric risk and negative asymmetric risk. The positive asymmetric risk trade was to buy crude at $40, not to buy it at 100 in hopes to sell it at 125. So if you notice the price action in the futures market on Wednesday, we had a massive sell-off in crude. So I think that even though crude could go a little bit higher, I think big institutional investors are going to use the retail liquidity to offload their energy positions to scale out of that trade. And a lot of people may say, well, you know, it's war, there's war, you know, the oil prices are going to skyrocket. That's usually when the trade is done, right? So I think that we may be in a good position, maybe, to see a rotation back into US stocks like the S&P, which followed through today. And I think energy prices could still go higher, but I think that is a good opportunity to be selling into that strength, in my personal opinion. Mike C says, there's a crash coming. NMB045 says, what about piling the stocks like Raytheon, Lockheed Martin, and Boeing? Yeah, so I personally don't own any of those defensive stocks. But I can definitely see where your thesis is there. I could definitely see where your thesis is. Hey, Craft T, good to see you. Hey, Tanique says hello from Russia. Welcome. Joey Garcia says, what's going on? Good to see you, Joey. Hey, Craft T says, Tom, I think as long as people can be productive at home, employees and employers will have cost savings with working from home. That's a good point. It's a very good point. John Ellis says, commodity stocks on fire as inflation continues. Good to see you, John L. Thank you for joining the stream tonight, my good friend John. Photos from around New York says, Tom, there is a small bookstore behind Strand. You will like it. Ooh, which Strand location? I definitely want to check that out. Definitely want to check that out. Photos, if you could, if you want to message me or put it in the Discord, the location of that bookstore, be appreciated. Hey, I see Jamie Price is here. Jeff says, do you know any non-biased news sources? I'm gonna say no. I think every news source is inherently biased, right? So if you think about CNN, it tends to be more left-leaning. If you think about Fox News, it tends to be more right-leaning. So I think the only way to compensate for that is to expand your data set. So read multiple articles from multiple different sources and then try to make a conclusion from what you've read. But I don't know, I think everybody has their own biases in some ways. What do you think? Do you think that there's any non-biased news source out there? Okay, everybody. And this is actually a satellite campus of St. John's University. Obama says zero hedge. Zero hedge is a lot of fear-based media, financial media. I do read Zero Hedge. I do like it a lot, but they do tend to be a little bit more fear-based. Yeah, John says, Tom, everybody seems to be biased one way or another. Lewis is biased is a human thing. Yeah, I think it's, so I'm seeing a lot of good points in the chat. I think the best thing that we could do is just get multiple different news sources and just try to read as much as we can. You know, because we know that Fox News leans right, we know that CNN leans left. So I think if we could have a diversity in our choice, you know, we'll probably be able to make a little bit better informed decision. Mike Simmons says, Zscaler took a hit after earnings. It did. So Zscaler guided lower. So analysts were expecting a more healthy guidance, I should say. And Zscaler guided lower on both the bottom and the top line. And Zscaler is a cybersecurity company that competes with CrowdStrike. John Ellis's Twitter, best news source in the world. So speaking of bias, do you guys want to hear a biased comment by me right now? I'll tell you a biased comment right now. I think the best news source in the world, the best financial news source in the world is my Behind the Street newsletter. Link in the description. That's a big bias. Hey, Christian Hanberry's here. Says, hey Tom, there is a statue in New York on 8th Avenue bus terminal of Ralph, of the Honeymooners. Maybe we'll have to check that out. Good to see you. Hope you're well. So we are on East 8th Street and Lafayette. And this is near the Astor Place Cube. Sarah G says LOL. Yes, but if you want the best financial news source out there, check out the Behind the Street newsletter. I send it out every week. Hey, we got Brian here. What's up, Brian? Lily says, great segue. Roy S says, I don't think it's too biased, Tom. Almost factually correct. I appreciate that. Hey, we got Shop by Scott here. What's up, Scott? Hope you're well. Hey, Dog D says, not knowing that CNN is totally left-leaning is a lack of self-awareness. I agree. Brian says, what's up, Tom? What's up, Brian? I'm doing well. On this frigid night we have here in Manhattan. Hey, Smee Media, good to see you. This is Tom. I almost thought you were gonna say something divisive / bias. Hilarious. Hey, Daryl's here from Chicago. What's up, Daryl? Good to see you. Hope you're doing well. Hey, Cindy Foley is here. Good to see you. Hope you're well, Cindy Foley. Armored Knight, thank you for watching and thank you for the well wishes. I appreciate it. I will be safe. Or at least I'll try the best I can, my friend. Shot by Scott. Hope you're having a good Friday. I wish you a great weekend. Ooh, the wind is starting to pick up, everybody. As we are on Broadway. Hey, Sarah Jesus, you can see what it's like in real time. Daryl says New York City walking show is at Bryant Park. Ah, very cool. Awesome, Daryl. Cool guy, doing cool things. Good to see you. It's freezing out. Hey, Rhonda Harris, Tom, any idea about how many miles or steps you do a day? We probably do about 5 miles a night on the stream for sure. Maybe even a little bit more. Hey, Woody Wood is here. Good to see you, Woody Wood. Hope you're well. Lily Ray says the wind is picking up. It's crazy windy tonight. Crazy windy. Sarah Jesus, Tom's got calves for days. So one quick tip, and I wrote about this in the other newsletter that I sent out. A lot of people often try to decipher what individual stocks to buy as we are coming out of a correction. So some of the criteria I look for is you really want to be able to identify the TMLs, or true market leaders as they're called. And there's a couple criteria to look for. Number one, it's all about earnings. So earnings. So you want to look for a company that's able to compound out their earnings growth at a 25% plus compounded annualized growth rate. More preferably, I would look for the companies that are coming off an earnings report where the management team has given an unbelievable forward guidance. So more specifically, if they beat earnings, if they beat analyst expectations, let's say if they beat on the top and the bottom line, and then they also guide higher for the next quarter. So they'll say something along the lines of, we had a very strong quarter in Q4, and due to some deals that we were not anticipating to close, we think that we're actually going to be able to increase our forward guidance on our revenue and our earnings. Those are the type of companies you want to look to buy coming out of a correction. And the reason for that is because the market is a forward-looking indicator. So sometimes it doesn't matter if a company's coming off a great earnings report. What really matters is the forward guidance. Sarajese's earnings, value, staying power, agreed. SME Media's is Washington Square Park. Yeah, we were just near Washington Square Park. So you know what, maybe we'll take a quick lap around Washington Square Park tonight, so we can see the view of the Empire State Building through the arch. Hey, Jonathan France is joining us. Good to see you, Jonathan France. Oil Paint says, will the Fed coin be more stable than Bitcoin? Yeah, you know, we've actually been talking about that a little bit on the stream. We've been talking about how the Federal Reserve is probably going to come out with a digital currency. I think it's very possible. Hey, Bernie Williams, good to see you. Hope you're well, Bernie Williams. Thank you for joining tonight. I see Brains Brian, good to see you. Says, when does price action and volume come into play for you? Well, it's all about the volume, right? In order for a stock to go up in layman's terms, you need buyers. That's why oftentimes when people buy these unprofitable penny stocks, they wonder why they lose money. Well, the reason why you're losing money is because if these companies have no earnings, nobody's going to want to buy the stock, right? So why do you think that Microsoft, Alphabet, Apple all tend to go up all the time? Well, that's because they're compounding out their earnings growth, and earnings attracts institutional investors, and institutions are not running, you know, a couple $1,000. These institutions are running multi-billions of dollars, and they need the liquidity to exit in and out of positions. So that's why we see all the big mega cap stocks tends to appreciate over time, because the earnings growth is reliable. Hey, Obama's here. Good to see you, Obama. Happy Friday. Hey, 076, thank you so much for the $5 donation. I really, really appreciate all the support. Thank you for the donation. Appreciate it. 076. Jack says, is this Washington Square Park? It is. This is Washington Square Park. And you guys can be able to see an unbelievable view in just a minute here. Hey, Square Bet says, Tom, Google will have a stock split. Yeah, so on the last earnings report, Google did announce that they, or Alphabet, I should say, did announce that they will be having a stock split. And I think one of the main reasons for this is because they probably want to bid into the Dow Jones Industrial Average, in my view. But a stock split doesn't really do anything to change the valuation. It just makes shares more affordable, quote unquote, to investors. So this is the view of the Empire State Building, obviously lit up in the Ukrainian colors. NMB 045 says, Tom, Bitcoin cannot be confiscated. Fedcoin can be confiscated. We have a clear winner. I agree with that 100%. Hey, Vinny Bynes says, I am from India. Good to see you, Vinny. SME Media is the best view. Thank you, Tom. Hey, Estelle is joining us from Australia. Good to see you, Estelle. Cindy Foley says, thank you for the cool sights. Thank you for being here. Good to see you, Tom AK. Hope you're having a good one. Shot by Scott says, Tom, South Beach awaits your return. We will be there soon. Hey, Business Mail says, loving the channel. Thank you, Business Mail. I appreciate it. Wow, the Empire State Building looks great tonight, everybody. But if you guys are enjoying the live stream tonight, feel free to leave a like on the video. It helps us out very, very much. Estelle says, thank you for the shout out, and you're welcome. Good to see you, Estelle. I wish the weather in New York was a little bit like Australia, but I guess we'll have to make do with what we have. But Solo 401, if you're still in the chat, take a look at this beautiful view of One World Trade Center we got here from Washington Square Park on the campus of New York University. Hey, Carlos is here. Says hello from Brazil. Good to see you, Carlos. Triple G says quiet night tonight in the park, Tom. Good to see you, Triple G. Hi, says nice. Good to see you. Hey, Paranormal Witness Girl's here. Good to see you, Paranormal Witness Girl. Hope you're doing well. Gummy Bear, I'm not going to get into that right now. My thoughts on that. Cindy Foley says prayers for Ukraine. Can't even watch the news anymore. Yeah, it's horrible. It's horrible what's been going on. Ooh, that wind is brutal, guys. Christopher Finch says, Tom, get the circle around the Statue of Liberty. We'll get there. Once the weather warms up, we'll get there, I promise. I promise you we'll get there. Brad's Brains, so are you buying only stocks at earnings or find it prospect? Well, yeah, I mean, I think earnings are the most important thing, right? So, and it's important to hold stocks through earnings because the vast majority of the movements in the stock market actually happen when the market is closed. So that's why there's so much attention around earnings. You know, stocks will gap up 10%, gap down 20%. Very volatile after hours because the liquidity is very, very low. Hi, good to see you. Hey, Paranormal Witness Girl says, Tom, that $30 Spirit airline ticket is calling your name. Yeah, I don't know if I could ever fly Spirit. I don't know. Hey, Rhonda Harris says, that was a great view of the old World Trade Centers. Hey, Juan Vegas says, hello, Tom. Indeed, this week has been very adventurous. What's your opinions on what's to come? Well, in terms of the market or just in general? You know, the market today was very encouraging because we did follow through. You know, one day of upside in the market is not enough to make a solidified trend change. So it was encouraging that markets rallied across the board on higher than normal volume. So that's the good news. So potentially the old saying on Wall Street about buy the cannons and sell the horn, or sell the trumpets, could play out. But I will be doing an in-depth review and a market to look ahead, obviously in the behind, either Sunday night or Monday. So if you want to receive that newsletter, if you type !news, N-E-W-S in the chat, the Nightbot will drop a link where you could sign up and read a top-down, bottom-up macro approach to investing written by myself. So now we are headed towards the West Village. I think this is the first time in a very, very long time we've been in the West Village on the channel. NE says, Tom, do you do any options trading? So very seldom do I ever trade options. Very seldom will I do that. Yeah, we're gonna avoid that. The only time I'll ever dabble in the derivatives market is if I am hedging an existing position. So let's say if I'm long a ton of common stock going into earnings. If I'm really, really long stock going into earnings, and I think that stock is rather extended. You know, what I may do is I may sell some calls on that stock because I'm still bullish on it, but I may just think it's extended at the time. Or I may buy outright puts on the stock, but not for speculation purposes, only for hedging and portfolio management purposes. Besides that, I really don't dabble in the derivatives market too much. Hey, somebody says go to Blue Bottle. I think all the coffee shops are closed. It may be too late at night. Hey, Raul M. Hey, what's up, Raul? Says, hey, Tom, market's finally looking up. Yeah, we had crude come down, so crude futures came down a little bit. And it seems like a lot of money rotated into US stocks. Well, if we think about the foreign markets, you know, the Russian stock market got hammered, fell off a cliff. So I think a lot of that liquidity and a lot of that money flowed into the US stock market. So I'll have to pull a report on fund flows and really check that out, but volume was good. Volume overall was very good. Hey, Joe C. This is Freedom Truckers. Joe C., good to see you. Long time no see to our pal Joe C. Good to see you, Joe C. Hey, Numero Uno says, I got interested in investing through the Oxford Club Market Research. Very cool. But Raul, good to see you, my friend. Says, will the Fed go slow with all eyes on it? Well, I think we're probably going to still get a 50 basis point rate hike. But as we've talked about in previous streams, raising interest rates is not going to do anything to deal with inflation, in my opinion, because we have to look back throughout history. Wow, check out the Empire State Building through the trees here. You know, ever since the 2008 financial crisis, interest rates in America has been at artificially low levels anyway. And inflation in this country hasn't been that bad. It's always been below or at the Federal Reserve's target of about 2% or 2.5%. You know, the reason why we're having all of this inflation is all the money printing. It's the Federal Reserve expanding their balance sheet, buying treasuries, buying mortgage-backed securities. That's what's causing all the inflation. So in order to really deal with inflation, the Federal Reserve is going to need to unwind its Goliath balance sheet of about $9 trillion. And if they actually really start to do that, the stock market is going to crater. So in my view, I don't even think the Federal Reserve is going to sell anything off its balance sheet. You know, if you pull up a chart of the Federal Reserve's balance sheet, it's actually expanded and not contracted. Hey, Tom is here. What's up, Tom? Clarence Jackson says, what are your thoughts on stagflation? So I think we could probably already say we may be in stagflation right now. I mean, we had a CPI print of about 7.5%. I actually think inflation is closer to 20. But you know what? If you want to listen to a really good podcast, and I don't agree with everything that Peter Schiff says, but just the other night he dropped a really, really good podcast called The Peter Schiff Show. So please check it out. And he goes into detail about stagflation and the history of the Federal Reserve. Hey, NE says, I want to be bullish on the US market, but I feel like people are counting on returns of the last 11 to 12 years too much. Yeah, well, I mean, look, earnings came in good, right? So earnings actually came in positive for a lot of the bigger companies. So I think it's just going to depend on the Federal Reserve, right? So the biggest thing we have to watch is that 10-year US Treasury yield. Right now, I think it came down and settled below 2%. but also watch the Federal Reserve's actual balance sheet. And if anything, the Federal Reserve balance sheet is expanding every day. Hey, Raul M, good to see you. Fox Tech 106 says, hey Tom, good to see you, Fox Tech. Hey, Clarence Jackson says, Tom, I met Peter Schiff when he ran for the U.S. Senate in Connecticut. That's awesome. So I think Peter Schiff actually ran for president as well, I believe. Hey, GTX20 says, what's your corporate dividend buy? What's my corporate dividend buy? Could you explain that a little bit more? Or are you talking about what stocks pay dividends? Is that what you're talking about? But thank you for joining. Sarah G says, Tom, that sound gives me chills. Good to see you, Sarah. Hey, War Walker, good to see you, my friend War Walker. Mike C says, how awesome would it be having Peter Schiff on C-SPAN regularly? I don't think they would ever allow that. There's no way they would allow that. But Peter Schiff is a good guy. I don't agree with him on everything, but I think he's a really, really smart guy. And I'm also a very big fan of his podcast, The Peter Schiff Show. Very good. Hey, Bob says, don't like coffee either, unless it's in ice cream. Ah, very cool. Hey, Andrew Hare says, hello from New Zealand. We have a lot of people from New Zealand that have been subscribing to the channel, so I appreciate it. Welcome everybody from New Zealand. Hey, Raul M says, Tom, I still think tech stocks will be in a bear phase for the foreseeable future. Interesting take. Well, I mean, tech stocks have gotten hammered. So, I mean, if anything, you know, what I'm trying to do is identify the best tech stocks that actually have earnings, right? Because earnings matter more than anything. And as earnings reports roll through, I think a lot of these companies are going to grow into their valuations, and there will be buying opportunities. There will be a massive, massive buying opportunities. Yeah, numero uno says, Tom, Doomers love Peter Schiff. Estelle says, love a good coffee. It's the best. Agreed, Estelle. Hey, Triple G says, Tom, do a TED Talk someday. Good to see you, Triple G. Hey, John says, any place to get dinner in the area? Tons of places. We just walked by a lot of them. But we're gonna head uptown. So this is 11th Street and Greenwich Avenue. But we're gonna head uptown because we have to head back to, what's it called? Yeah, we'll cross with these guys and upset the taxi. We have to walk to 34th Street anyway. So we might as well head up here at 11th. Hey, Pablo is here. Good to see you, Pablo. Welcome to the channel. Hey, Jonathan Francis, Tom, try Carbone. Very good Italian food. Hey, Dougie Doug is here. What's up, Dougie Doug? Oh my gosh, that wind is freezing, freezing, freezing. is brutal, everybody. Yeah, Niles is as cold as it is cold, freezing tonight. Ruby Falcone, good to see you. Hey, Square Bet is here. This is Tom. Get warm. Thank you. That Duke 1773. Good to see you. Sabrina Fair, good to see you, my friend. All right, I have to switch up the thing here. One of my hands is getting very cold. Yeah, Mike sees this Tom. I could deal with cold, but not the cold wind. I agree. If it's not windy, I'm good. I could pretty much deal with anything, but the wind is a killer. That's the killer. So Alibaba reported earnings this week. Very, very bad report. And as I've said, I think Alibaba could be a way, way better company than it is. But unfortunately, due to regulatory oversight from the CCP, it's killing and stifling innovation and growth. And I think that's why you're seeing a lot of liquidity drain out of the stock. Their only bright spot was their cloud computing division, but also growth there decelerated slightly. But overall revenue grew 10% year over year, and that was the slowest revenue growth for Alibaba since 2004. So really, really crazy. All right, now we're on West 15th Street. I apologize if I can't read every comment tonight. I can barely see the screen, and it's freezing. Hey, I see Cosmo Scary. What's up, Cosmo? Hope you had a good Friday, and any plans for the weekend? Cosmo's our great moderator. What's up, Cosmo? Hey, Lemonade. Good to see you, Lemonade. This NYC is always alive. The last time I was there, I was about 16 years old. Hey, I see Jared Covey. What's up, Jared? Good to see you. Design Ideas says, good evening, Tom. Wow, Dow up 183 points today. Yes. We covered that a little bit earlier on the stream. Big rally day across the board on Wall Street, which was encouraging because it followed through from yesterday. Clarence says, what are your thoughts on Lucid? So I would never buy a stock like that, mainly because it doesn't have earnings, and I have a very, very strict rule that I will not buy a stock without earnings. So just a forewarning, a lot of those, well, they're called SPACs, or those special purpose acquisition companies. A lot of those are highly speculative, and I think that during the 2021 stock market, bull market, a lot of big investors on Wall Street started a lot of these SPACs just to cash out. So it would be very, very, just personally, I wouldn't really buy into most of those companies with no earnings or sales. Hey, Duke 1776 says, Tom, you are skilled walking, talking, filming, and reading comments. Thank you for being here. So check out, you can see a little bit of the Empire from here. Very seldom do we take this way. We almost never walk up this way. Raul M says, Tom, what do you think about the new social media platform launched by Trump? Yeah, so that's another SPAC. That's another special purpose acquisition company. I don't think I would ever buy it. And I'm not on the platform. Does anybody use that platform? I don't think I know anybody who uses it, to be quite honest. Hey, Lady O is here. Good to see you, Lady O. It's freezing in New York, Lady O. I hope you're staying warm over there in New Jersey. Lady O is one of our great moderators from New Jersey. Good to see you, Lady O. Angela Lee says, where are all the homeless people? LA streets are lined with people laying down. Well, good to see you, Angela Lee. Thank you for joining the stream tonight. We unfortunately do have a very bad homeless problem in the United States and in New York specifically. But tonight, Angela, it is so cold out that a lot of the homeless are either in shelters right now or in train stations and things like that. You know, New York City tries to do its best to have people come inside when it's really, really cold. Lady O says, Tom, it's freezing here too. The wind is what's killing me tonight. Transfer says, what's something you learned that you're applying more to your analysis? I think the biggest thing is that the overall market direction matters the most. You know, you could have a company that has the most phenomenal earnings, have the most phenomenal sales growth, very strong return on equity, high gross margins, EBITDA is phenomenal. But the overall trend of the market is what matters most, because 70% of all stocks in the market will follow the overall trend of the broader stock market. So if you're in an egregious bear market, you could have the best stock with the best fundamentals. That stock is still going to go down or not perform well. So I think it's important, and what I've learned over the years, is to pay attention to the overall direction of the market and trade and invest with the trend of the market. But in my retirement accounts, as opposed to my actively managed accounts, I just dollar cost average into a very low cost index fund that tracks one of the broader stock market indices. Wow, everybody check this out. Check out that view of the Empire State Building all lit up in the Ukrainian colors. Wow, that looks great. Hey, Angela Lee says, thank you for answering. Thank you for being here, Angela. Hopefully we see you on another live stream. Lou Rodriguez says, Tom, why don't you stream at home to stay warm once in a while? We may, maybe. Here, I'll zoom in on the Empire a little bit. All lit up for Ukraine. Hey, Gregory's here. Good to see you, Gregory. Hey, Salim Muhammad. Hey, Salim. Salim Muhammad says, Tom, what is the temperature there? It's probably like 25 degrees. It's freezing here. But good to see you, Salim. Hope you're well. Hey, Tom. Good to see you, my friend. It says, why won't American airplanes get involved? I don't think there's going to be any American airplanes or any American military action, to be honest. Hey, NYC Bald is here. Says, I'm normally not one to brag about my financial skills, but my credit card company calls me almost every day to inform me of my outstanding balance. This is NYC Bald. Well, thank you for the donation. I appreciate you very much. But by law, oh Maron, that scared the hell out of me. But by law, you don't have to answer those calls. And you could actually block those numbers. They're not allowed to harass you, especially debt collectors. So if you're getting harassed by debt collectors, you could actually report them because it's illegal to make those harassing phone calls. Just saying. Hey, the Jet Fighter's here. Good to see you. Ruby Falcone. Yeah, I mean, I was not. They came in like hot. They came in hot, man. Lemonade says Ukraine is not in NATO. Yeah, I think that's what's making the situation a little bit sticky, because the West wants to help, but they're not in NATO. So yeah, I mean, it's just a horrible situation what's going on. Hey, Salim Muhammad says thank you for responding, bro. Thank you for being here, Salim. And I hope you have a great weekend. Salim Muhammad, wow, check out this view of the Empire right through the crack of these two buildings. I'm kind of glad we came this way. Very rarely do we walk up this way. Hey, Talvish is here. Says, what's up, Walks from Wall Street? What's up, Talvish? Good to see you. Yina L says hello from Buenos Aires, Argentina. Love Buenos Aires. Jared Covey, good to see you. Hey, Daryl says watching and listening on the large screen, enjoying your commentary. Hey, Daryl, thank you for joining the stream. I appreciate it. Numero Uno says I always fit Tom into my schedule. Thank you, Numero Uno. I appreciate you very much. Somebody says, have you ever seen celebrities walking? We probably have, but I'm like, you guys know me. For the people who've been watching the Walks on Wall Street stream for a while, I am so oblivious to all that stuff. I probably should be a little bit better by recognizing people, but I'm so horrible with that. You know what? I think I'm gonna make a right, because I want to take you guys to Madison Square Park, because from Madison Square Park we're gonna be able to see an unbelievable view of the Empire State Building. And I think if we keep walking up 7th, it's not gonna be as good of a view, and I want to show you guys, especially since it's all lit up for Ukraine. Hey, Lou Rodriguez is here. What's up, Lou? Hope you're having a good one. Obama. Frankie's here. Emilio J says, you're a bigger name than all of them, Tom. Jeez. Yeah, I wish. Yeah, Cosmos says that if an obscure Wall Street tycoon was walking down the street, I would recognize him. Oh yeah, like Seth Klarman. If Seth Klarman walked down the street, something like that. So if you guys are looking for good book recommendations, one of my favorite books for more of an advanced value investor, and it's funny because I'm actually not a value investor, I'm more of like a growth stock investor, so more of like an Investor's Business Daily type. But I would really suggest reading Margin of Safety by Seth Klarman. And the reason why I would suggest that is because, you know, at one of the Berkshire Hathaway investment conferences, somebody had asked Warren Buffett, you know, Warren, besides you and Benjamin Graham, who would you recommend to listen to in regards to investing advice? And Warren Buffett, he sort of sat down and thought for a moment, and he really couldn't think about anybody. But then when he did think about somebody, he finally opened up his mouth. And he said, well, to tell you the truth, I really wouldn't recommend anybody, but if I had to recommend one person, maybe Klarman. Yeah, Seth Klarman. Go ahead and study Seth Klarman. And I think that's probably pretty telling. If the greatest investor of all time is like, yeah, don't listen to anybody else but me and maybe Seth Klarman. So please check it out, Seth Klarman's Margin of Safety. Although, if you want to buy the physical copy of the book, it may cost you about $3,000 because I believe there was only about 1,000 copies ever printed, but you can get one for free online through one of the bootleg pirate based sites. Hey, Fox says thank you for bringing us to the Big Apple. No problem. Thank you for being here. Hey, Friendship Light says I got my Series 7 in 1998. New world now. Awesome, Friendship. Awesome, man. But another good book is How to Make Money in Stocks by William J. O'Neill. And William J. O'Neill is very known for being a size trader, so a big position size trader. And he's actually the founder of Investors Business Daily, which just sold to News Corporation for about $275 million. Yeah, One Up on Wall Street by Peter Lynch is also a fantastic book. So Peter Lynch was one of the most successful mutual fund managers of all time. He used to run the Fidelity Magellan Fund, which produced some of the best returns of any mutual fund manager in history. So Peter Lynch and the Fidelity Magellan Fund. Oh, but everybody, so I finally remembered. If you look in the link in the description and you want to watch one of my favorite investing interviews ever, it's by two of the best investors of all time. Number one, Stanley Druckenmiller, and number two, Paul Tudor Jones. They both interviewed each other. It's an unbelievable interview. If you look in the link in the description, go to the Discord and look in the investing, I believe it was called under the investing thoughts tab. And I also included it in this week's Behind the Street newsletter. So Stanley Druckenmiller and Paul Tudor Jones. That interview was fantastic. XOXX Bob says, I remember Peter Lynch. Yeah, I think he still lives in Boston now. Sabrina Fair says, a city home. Someone says, my dream is to own Berkshire Hathaway stock. Hey, Juan Vega, good to see you, Juan. Hope you're well.
It is life. That's what I already am.
Hey, Eyeglass Lady is here. Good to see you, Eyeglass Lady. Hey, Mike S is here. Good to see you. Clarence Jackson says, Paul Tudor Jones is a nice guy. I met him a couple of times in Greenwich. He recently moved to Florida. Hey, that's awesome, Clarence. That must have been an amazing experience doing that. That's awesome. Eyeglass Lady says, thank you, Tom. Any plans for the weekend, Eyeglass Lady? What do you think? So when we turn the corner here, you guys are going to be able to see a great view of the Empire State Building. So this is 5th Avenue, right near the Flatiron Building. Lady O says, Tom, I hope you're bundled up. Temperatures are dropping. We're bundled up pretty good. Thank you for being here, Lady O. Hey, Escobar says, I love New York City. Thanks for sharing. Greetings from Colombia. Hey, welcome everybody from Colombia. John L says, One Good Trade is a decent book. I haven't read that. I'm going to check that out. Frankie says, do you know Action Kid? If yes, have you met him? Yeah, of course. I know Action Kid. Action Kid is great. I haven't met him in person, but I do know of him 100,000%. Great channel. But no, I have not met him in person. I have not. So check out the Empire State Building tonight, all lit up for Ukraine. Angela Lee says, I love the Flatiron Building and the Empire State Building. Yes, so Angela, here's the funny thing. So the Flatiron Building is actually right behind us, but it is all covered in scaffolding because it's undergoing some major renovations. So I'll show you this. I'll show you the bummer because it's all under a massive amount of scaffolding. You see it? It's all covered in scaffolding here. I think Action Kid is also ex-Wall Street. Good to see you. Good to see everybody. So we'll cross the street because I want to show you guys an even better view of the Empire. And then we'll continue to head up to 42nd Street. Mike S. says, Tom, buy stock in scaffolding companies. Clarence Jackson says, Jeff Bezos owned a condo near Madison Square Park. I subscribe to Action Kid as well. Very cool. Lady O says, Cash Jordan used to work in finance as well. So I'll turn around and you guys can see what I'm talking about here. What do you guys think of this view out of 1 to 10? 1 to 10. I think I'm going to give this a 10. 10 out of 10 right here. Hey, Tony Lagus says, hey, my friend, how are you? Enjoy the lovely walk in Manhattan. Hello from Sydney, Australia. Welcome to all of our viewers in Australia. I appreciate it. Everybody's saying 10. Yeah, I agree. 10 out of 10. 11 out of 10. Sunshine after rain, 10. 100% 10. Big 10. Lewis is amazing view, 10 out of 10. This building's pretty good as well. Hey, Ann says, hello from Saudi Arabia. Welcome. Eyeglass Lady says, I'm one of Action Kid's mods. Oh, wow. Very cool. So we'll continue to walk up. So should we walk up 5th Avenue or should we walk up Broadway? I guess I'll let you guys pick. Since it is Friday, we're hanging out tonight. So let me know, do you want me to walk up 5th Avenue or should we walk up Broadway? Let me know. Fifth Avenue, Broadway. Broadway. Ruby Falcone's is Broadway. Peter Webley. All right, we'll walk up Broadway. So we're right outside Italy. And we'll give you one more look of the Empire State Building. Nicholas, pray for Ukraine, agreed. So we spent the first 20-30 minutes talking about the craziness that's going on in Ukraine. It's so horrible to think about what's going on over there. And it's such a waste. It's just such a waste what's happening. Such a waste. It's a waste of energy, resources, lives, everything. It's horrible. Hey, Laytha's here. What's up, Laytha? Thank you for joining us tonight on a freezing, freezing night in New York City. Hey, Comic-Con, good to see you. Hey, Alan Wilson is here. Good to see you, Alan. Good to see you. Joe says, what are you looking for? We're looking for the bull market. We just need to know where to look. Good to see you, Joe. Hope you're well.
From another side, I guess, of the building. Like, and then he went to
Alan Wilson, good to see you, my friend. Hey, Chris Beeman says good night, Tom, and all mods and everybody. Painkillers are kicking in. Peace and love. Peace and love, Chris. Chris, enjoy your weekend, by the way. Please have a great weekend. David says, why do you think Biden didn't cut off Russia from SWIFT? I think that's probably because that would technically be considered an act of war. And Russia has nuclear missiles. And obviously Putin is insane. And there's a good possibility he would threaten to use them. So that's why I think that we didn't cut him off through SWIFT. But again, that's just my opinion. What do you guys think? Okay, so now we're making our way to West 26th Street, headed uptown. Oh, if anybody has a Twitter in the chat, if you want to connect on Twitter for real-time market updates and things like that, you can follow Walks Wall Street on Twitter. I did change the handle, just to let you know. But now I'm trying to consolidate things. As we walk past 27th Street. XOXX Bob says, isn't SWIFT a European system? Well, I think everybody has to vote on it collectively. But that's why I think that's why I don't think that they're going to ban Russia from that. Because technically that is considered an act of war. Hey, Eyeglass Lady. Very cool. New Earth, good to see you. Brian says, I agree with you, Tom. Good to see you, Brian. Yeah, I mean, that's the thing that's concerning to me. Right? Think about that. I mean, Vladimir Putin is obviously losing his mind. And this guy has nuclear missiles, which is definitely concerning. I mean, if he can do something as egregious as this, you know, what else is he capable of doing? I mean, I think that's my biggest concern, to be honest. But what do you guys think? Do you think it'll ever get to the point where he could potentially use those weapons? I mean, it's sort of like you can't negotiate with a crazy person. Hey, Bitsmag TV says, without the SWIFT, there's no international banking. Agreed, Bitsmag TV, but Russia makes up a very, very small portion. But good to see you, Bitsmag TV. Always good to see you here. Skip says, hey Tom, just followed you on Twitter. Weird times continue in the world. I know, Skip, it's been a wild week. I mean, this week has just been a whirlwind, so hopefully everybody in the chat can find some peace and just kind of hang out this weekend. All right, looks like we got the light. Alan Wilson says, it worries me that in Biden's state of mind, he has nukes too. Oh, jeez. Good to see you, Alan. Brian says, Putin is crazy enough at least. Juan Vega says, Tom, Putin is only doing what is doing because of who we have in the country. Complete disaster. Yeah, it's unfortunate. Hey, San Miguel is here. Good to see you, San Miguel. Hope you're having a good Friday. So check out this view of the Empire State Building, everybody. Hey, Diane M, good to see you. Lady O Comic Con. Big Easy says, Tom, are we walking on eggshells? You have to be very cautious, says Big Easy. I know. Lemonade says, New York City is homogenous. Reminds me of LA. Long blocks.
Line up and dish your blood.
I've never been to LA. I would like to go. Check out this view, everybody. Wow. So right when we get up here to Koreatown, which is going to be 32nd Street, Korea Way, there's going to be an even better view, if you can believe that. Let me see here. Yeah, the Empire always looks great. Empire is such an iconic building. Ruby Falcone, this is bold and beautiful colors. So 2 nights ago, the Empire State Building was lit up in nice colors too. That was 2 streams ago. A little bit of a different color scheme. But I think my favorite color scheme on the Empire State Building is during the 4th of July. And then number 2 is probably during Christmas time. I think those are the 2 favorite, at least in my view. Excuse me, at least in my view. Hey, Kenneth is here. Good to see you, Kenneth. Diane M, Lady O, good to see you. Says, I know this Putin doesn't want none of us in the US. Seems like there's a lot more graffiti here than usual. Maybe that's just me, but it seems to at least be a little bit more than usual. So tomorrow, everybody on the stream, I'm going to try to stream from the Upper West Side of Manhattan, where we could go see the Dakota building from Mark Davis, our friend Mark Davis. Oh, and another quick announcement. So if you guys want to listen to the audio version of the Behind the Street newsletter, we do now have a Medium site up. So if you want to read our articles on Medium, feel free to do that. And there is a play button where you could listen to it in audio version. But the next two newsletters will be sent out with my narration, but right now you're going to have a robotic, cryptic voice for the narration for you guys to enjoy. I think this is one of my favorite views of the night. Hey, Jackie Carmen is here. Says, wow, awesome view. I love it, showing support. Good to see you, Jackie, and happy Friday to you. I hope your week was fantastic, and I hope you take some time to relax and recharge this weekend. Yo, look who we have. We have Techno Pink. Techno Pink is our consultant at EY. And he's from the Dominican Republic. Good to see you, Techno Pink. We're walking around in a freezing New York City. Bitsmag TV is this very beautiful Empire State Building. Hey, Dante Rose is here. Good to see you, Dante. Hope you're well. You know, I've noticed that during the cold, my phone's battery dies at a more rapid pace. Does anybody else notice that? I'm already on 20%, and I charge my phone at full capacity. So now we are walking through Koreatown, one of my favorite places in New York. If you want to get here, come to 32nd Street, Korea Way. Beautiful place, very fun, especially on Friday and Saturday nights. Hey, Friendship Lights is here. Good to see you. RQZ, good to see you. Hey, Simply Amazing 102 says the scenery is so beautiful and relaxing. Well, thank you for being here. Sarah G, agreed. If you guys are enjoying the stream tonight, feel free to leave a like on the video. It helps support the stream so we can do more of these. Hey, Laytha says K-Town is kicking. Good to see you, Laytha. So Laytha, as you know, when we get to the end of this block by Baekjeong, which is one of my favorite Korean barbecue spots, I think we're gonna get to the greatest view of the Empire State Building in the city. I think debatable, but I'll let you guys decide for yourselves. But it's right on the corner here when you walk over to 5th Avenue. One of my favorite spots to view the Empire.
Never wants to catch a present.
Sarah G, good to see you, my friend.
Because he's not good.
I'm not a nurse today.
Hey, Peter Webley says Koreatown in LA is also large. I think that's what I may do this summer. You know, I haven't been traveling, obviously, due to the pandemic. Maybe I'll visit LA for a week or something like that over the summer. You never know. All right, so let's try to cross the street without getting knocked off here. I've been seeing a ton of these Tesla taxis all over the place. Hey, Mark Francis says yes. Hey, Ben James has come to Southern California, Tom. Maybe I will. Do you guys want me to stream? Would you like to see a stream in Southern California? Maybe we'll do that. So we're on the corner of 5th Avenue here. And when we cross the street, there's two really good Korean barbecue places. But you're gonna be able to see a great view of the Empire State Building. NNB 045 says Tom, Koreatown always seems to be kicking on Friday night. Yeah, Koreatown is fantastic. I think there may be a game or something to get it out at the Garden. All right, so what do you guys think? Let me know. Ken Kramer says, Tom, AMD larger market cap than Intel now. Hey, Comic-Con Hunter says, makes me wonder. Good to see you, Comic-Con. Yeah, they're buying $8 billion worth of stock back. I saw that. Duke 1773 says, Tom, the Knicks were playing tonight. So what do you guys think about this view? I think this was the greatest view of the Empire State Building we saw so far tonight. Let me know what you guys think. Hey, Paul Stein says the Miami Heat and New York Knicks were tonight. Somebody says, Tom, do a walk in Charlotte, North Carolina. Maybe we'll do that. Check that out. Good to see you. Yeah, that's one of my favorite spots. We'll walk up 5th Avenue to 34th and then we'll cross over. Hey everybody, we got the British Grey here. Good to see a British Grey joining us from the one and only Tampa, Florida. Hey, Paul Stein says the Heat beat the Knicks 115 to 110. San Miguel says, I miss Tom's Miami streams. We'll be back in Miami very soon, I promise. But something I found interesting today, everybody, you know, we actually had China coming out and condemning the Russian attack on Ukraine. I thought that was very, very surprising to me, that it seems to be that almost every single country in the world is denouncing this Ukrainian invasion. Even China, I was so surprised to see that, because China is backing, usually tends to take the side with Russia, but they actually came out and denounced the invasion, which was pretty interesting to say the least. Yeah, photos from around New York says China has a large border with Russia, so it's very interesting. I was surprised as well. You know, one of my buddies pinged me on Bloomberg. He's like, you know, when you have China criticizing you in relation to the government, if you have the Chinese government criticizing you, you know you did something wrong. Because the Chinese government is very controlling about what you can and can't say. You know, in one of the streams we did, we covered a lot of the Chinese equities, or in the United States they're called ADRs. So what a lot of people don't understand is, let's say if you want to buy Alibaba, so ticker symbol BABA, technically you're not actually buying the actual stock of Alibaba. What you're buying is an ADR, which stands for an American Depository Receipt, which is essentially you're buying a ticket to say that an offshore holding company, so they're called ADRs. But a lot of these Chinese companies, more specifically the technology companies, their innovation is being stifled by extreme regulations from the CCP. So it was really interesting and telling today when the Chinese government came out condemning the Russian invasion of Ukraine. Oops, sorry about that, I'm getting a call. Lemonade says if Russia takes over Ukraine, Russia will be right next to the border of all of the NATO countries. O7 says, yeah, you can't buy actual Chinese stock. Well, you can, but a lot of them are the ADRs. You can technically buy the actual Chinese underlying stock, but the most of them that you could buy on, like Charles Schwab, most people own it through an ADR. But you're right. Numero uno says, Tom, China and Russia war games together. Hey Mario, does anybody know of any good rooftop bars with good views here? So I'm not a big drinker, but you know, I'm actually going to turn that question over to photos from around New York and Cosmo Scary, because I'm not a big drinker. I don't really go to bars. Wow, Eyeglass Lady says, Tom, now Putin has threatened Finland and Sweden for joining NATO. So everybody, now we're walking down 34th Street. We're on the corner of 6th Avenue and 34th, overlooking the Macy's, which is the largest department store in the world. Photos from around New York, says Tom. What was the question? So we have a lot of viewers in the chat asking what are good rooftop bars to go to when they're in New York. Cosmo Scary says, I don't drink either, so I don't know. I didn't know that, Cosmo. Interesting. Ruby Falcone says, time check 10:50. Yeah, I'm seeing a lot of good insight in the chat. I'm trying to read every comment, but my fingers are literally not even working on my phone because I think they're too cold. Hey, Lemonade says, Tom, the Seattle Macy's shut down after the riots. Ooh, this Tesla seems to be stuck in a crosswalk. Yeah, Eyeglass Lady says, get some touchscreen gloves. Hey, 1-to-1 is here. What's up, 1-to-1? Good to see you. So I think these are my favorite Teslas right here. But although I do like the Teslas that where the doors open, sort of like it's like a wing, sort of opens like that. Business Purpose is, hello, can you explain Bitcoin to me? Well, in layman's terms, it is a decentralized, cashless, peer-to-peer digital currency. But I can't really go off on a whole tangent right now in explaining it in depth. But what I will do is I'll direct you to some really good resources. So if you're, relaxing over the weekend, you could listen to some of these podcasts. So I would check out the Orange Pill podcast by Max Kaiser. What I would also check out is, and if you go on YouTube and you type in the Bitcoin Standard, you could actually listen to the audiobook for free. And I would highly recommend you do that to get a better understanding of what Bitcoin is, how it can be used, its value proposition, things like that. I would check out the Bitcoin Standard. Hey, 2 Explorers says it's too cold. You gotta head back to Miami. We will soon enough, I promise. So here's one last view of the Empire. Beautiful view. Yeah, 078 says Teslas are crazy fast. So internal combustion engine, a lot of the horsepower is burned off within the engine, but in an EV, the horsepower goes directly to the wheels. So extremely fast. So does anybody know the exact statistics on the new Tesla? I think the new Tesla Roadster will be able to go 0 to 60 in what? In how many seconds can it go 0 to 60? Does anybody know in the chat if there's any Tesla bulls? We always have a lot of Tesla bulls in the chat. .5. I don't know about that. Business Purposes, what do you think is worse? Chicago winters in New York. I think Chicago gets a little bit more snow than New York City, right? 0 to 60 in 1.9. That's fast. That's really fast. Two Explorers says 1.9 rolling start. Yeah, Webley says Chicago's got the wind, but I mean, the New York, we've been getting hammered by the wind all night on the stream. We've been getting hammered. Numero uno says natural gas power plants charge EVs. You're right. That's what a lot of people don't understand. So numero uno, I think I already told you, but there was an unreal, great article on the Wall Street Journal last weekend about the U.S. power grid. So if you type !power, !POWER in the chat, if you want to really understand why America has such an outdated and antiquated power grid, read that article. It's an unbelievable article in the Wall Street Journal. Hey, Kenneth says, Tom, I've been to Chicago recently. The wind there is ruthless, nothing like the East Coast. Geez, well then I'll probably never visit Chicago. Hey, we got Jerry here. What's up, Jerry? Good to see you. Yeah, Paul. So Paul makes a good point about the rare earths that are required to build a lot of these batteries. And I think Elon Musk was very vocal on that too, because I believe cobalt is a major component in a lot of the batteries that Tesla uses. And I think the vast majority of the world's cobalt comes out of the Democratic Republic of the Congo, where there's egregious human rights violations, as well as even slavery. They literally have slave labor. It's so cold I can't even talk. Slave labor actually mining a lot of this cobalt, which is so horrible. So there definitely needs to be something to be done to prevent that. But Paul, you make a good point. Hey, Ernest Martinez Jr. says, Tom, Russia has one of the highest deposits of palladium and platinum. Eyeglass Ladies, is there another way to read the Power Grid article? I have to go through a paywall. Oh, really? That sucks. I hate when the companies do that, slam you with a paywall. Eyeglass Lady, if you I don't know. I really don't know. Maybe I'll try to do a summary of it in the Behind the Street newsletter. So if you're signed up to receive the newsletter, maybe I could try to send it to you via text. Hey, Carol is here. Carol H, good to see you. This is happy Friday to all. Carol, we actually just passed your old apartment. We were checking out the Empire State Building tonight, lit up in the Ukrainian colors. Beautiful. Hey, Carol H says, Tom, my mom loves your stream. She watches you every night. Can you wish her a happy birthday? Absolutely. Happy birthday to Carol H's mom. I hope you have a fantastic, blessed Friday. And enjoy your birthday weekend. You deserve it. And I'll do you one better, everybody. Let's drop a happy birthday in the chat, in the Walks on Wall Street chat. And we'll have about 600 happy birthdays for your mother. So big happy birthday and enjoy your weekend as well. But thank you for watching. I appreciate it. It is a cold one out here tonight, so I appreciate you guys walking with me. Hey, JC is here. Says, good evening from Australia. 076 says, I drove the Throgs Neck Bridge. Hey, photos from around New York says, Tom, what is your handle on Medium? So the handle on Medium is Walks and Wall Street. but I also put the link to it in the Discord. And the reason why I joined Medium is because I want to be able to do audio with the Behind the Street newsletter. So the first link in the description of the video, of this live stream, is the newsletter, but the Medium article, you can follow at Walks in Wall Street, where you can listen to it in audio version. Doing, man? Numero uno, thank you so much, appreciate you. Yeah, I apologize tonight, everybody. I haven't been reading the comments and doing much talking stuff, but my hands don't even work on the screen anymore because it's so cold. So if I missed your comments tonight, I do apologize deeply. But I was not able to read them because I can't scroll on the screen. So I apologize. (33rd Street now, Hotel Pennsylvania. I actually think they may close this down. Hey, Diana says, sounds very windy in the city. It definitely is. So they're doing all new construction on the Madison Square Garden, the Penn Station here. When all of this is complete, it's going to look fantastic. And I believe there's a New York Knicks game just getting out of the Garden. Latha says, I thought the Hotel Pennsylvania already closed. You may be right. I'm not too sure if it's already closed, but I think they are closing it. But supposedly from a lot of viewers, everybody's been saying the Hotel Pennsylvania was horrible anyway. So we'll see. But it is a very notable, iconic hotel and an iconic site. So now we're headed to the very back of the Madison Square Garden. This is actually where all the players come in and out as well. Hey, Carol H. Thanks, Tom. And to all of you who wish my mom a happy birthday. Have a great weekend. Hey, thank you so much. Appreciate that. So this is the very back of the Madison Square Garden. And we're going to be able to see our pal Billy Joel right here. picture is on the other side. Ladios is the player's entry. Kurt Flirt, good to see you, my friend. Ruby Falcone says, Tom, wonderful stream. Get warm. Thank you so much, Ruby. Here's our pal Billy Joel right here. And these are some of the buildings towards the Hudson Yards. And this is the new Moynihan train station. At the front of it is actually still a functioning post office right here on 8th Avenue. Hey, Isabella's here. What's up, Isabella? Good to see you. I love the architecture of these big columns right here. Hey, Brittany McMurdy is joining us. Hey, Brittany, good to see you. One and only Brittany McMurdy, good to see you. Hope you're having a great Friday and have a good weekend. So we just have to wait for the light and then we'll cross. Lady O, yes, we are going to go inside Moynihan. Hey, photos from around New York, thank you so much. Appreciate it. Hey, Sunshine, New York. Look who it is. Good to see you, Sunshine, New York. One of our great moderators on the channel. Says, were you talking about me? We were. Sarah G. Lemonade says, wow, I've never seen that. Happy to show it to you tonight. So we are going to end the stream at the corner here, everybody. But I just wanted to say thank you so much for walking with me tonight. We covered a lot of topics from the Ukraine situation. We talked a little bit about the commodities market, the stock market, the big rally day on Wall Street we had between the NASDAQ, the Dow Jones, and the S&P 500. We also covered that 10-year U.S. Treasury yield. We covered a little bit of the Federal Reserve. Are we going to have a 50 basis point rate hike in March? I think so. But the biggest thing to watch is the Federal Reserve's balance sheet. That's the thing we need to watch, because I believe that is going to continue to inflate that balance sheet on the Federal Reserve. So I'll leave everybody off with this beautiful view of the Empire State Building. If you enjoyed the stream tonight, feel free to leave a like on the video. Subscribe to the channel if you are new. And Brian, thank you for coming. Lewis, appreciate you so much, my friend. Alan Wilson, Sarah G, all of our great moderators. Sunshine New York, Brian, Latha, Elizabeth, Wanda, Carol H's mom. Thank you for watching. NMB045, appreciate it. Christian Felix, John. And once again, guys, on Monday, I will be sending out the next edition of the Behind the Street newsletter. So if you haven't already signed up, if you type !news in the chat, the Nightbot will drop that link and I will connect with you over the newsletter. For everybody around the world, please, I'm wishing you peace amid the craziness going on in Ukraine. Praying for Ukraine and everybody around the world tonight. And have a good night to the mighty bull wherever you are, because There's always a bull market somewhere, and you just need to know where to look. And I'll see everybody right back here tomorrow. Enjoy the weekend.